Good morning, respected seniors and dear colleagues. Today, the topic of Journal Club is Prognostic Significance of Chemotherapy Response Score in Patient Undergoing Interval Debulking Surgery and Attained Complete Cytoreduction for High-Grade Serous Tubal and Ovarian Carcinoma. This topic is published in South Asian Journal of Cancer in March 2024, and this study is conducted at Regional Cancer Center, Trivandrum, Kerala. As we all know, carcinoma ovary is a lethal pregnancy. It is the eighth most common pregnancy globally. Tubo-ovarian high-grade serous carcinoma is the most common type and accounting for almost 70% of all ovarian cancer. Despite various advances in the management of ovarian cancer, the 5-year survival is less than 30% in its advanced stages. As we all know, cytoreductive surgery, either in the upfront setting or the interval setting, is the standard treatment of ovarian cancer. But till now, there is no reliable prognostic marker to assess the outcome of interval debulking surgery after neoadjuvant chemotherapy. Commonly used methods are the radiological imaging and the serial monitoring of CA-125 to know the response of chemotherapy. It is proposed that the tissue removed at the time of surgery after chemotherapy can be used to predict the response of chemotherapy and further to predict prognosis. These type of validated scoring system are already in used for the prognostic information in breast, esophageal and gastric and rectal cancers after neoadjuvant chemotherapy. So what is chemotherapy response score? The main topic of today. It is developed by Boham et al. In 2015. Basically, it is a histopathological scoring system to know how the tumor responds to the chemotherapy. Or it is a histopathological scoring. It is a three-tier scoring system. CRS1 means no response, CRS2 partial response, CRS3 means complete or near complete response. This to be done in the omental tissue. Basically, in this, we assess the amount of residual disease and fibroinflammatory changes in response to the chemotherapy. There are various studies in the literature who proved its prognostic significance. This CRS system is already incorporated by the International Collaboration on Cancer Reporting and the College of American Pathologists in assessing the response to chemotherapy in the high-grade serous ovarian carcinoma after NACT. Currently, this scoring system is yet to be adopted in the routine clinical practice. So, the aim and objective of our study, of this study, to assess the prognostic significance of chemotherapy response score in patient who underwent interval debulking surgery and attained complete cytoreduction. Material and method. This is the retrospective analysis. Patient with the stage 3 and the stage 4 tubo-ovarian and the high-grade serous carcinoma was included. Patient who received 3 to 4 cycle of chemotherapy included, and the patient who received only platinum-based NACT is included. The study period is from January 2015 to July 2018. Demographic data, cancer antigen, CA-125 levels, imaging, biopsy report, FIGO staging, details of chemotherapy, surgical procedures, follow-up, detail of relapse were collected from the medical record. So what are the inclusion criteria? NACT was given to patients who was medically inoperable. Pre-operative imaging suggests that the disease is not able to achieve complete cytoreduction. Disease with parenchymal liver metastasis. Before starting the chemotherapy, the diagnosis was confirmed by the guided biopsy and by immunohistochemistry. The surgery consisted of hysterectomy, bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy, omentectomy, with or without various radical surgeries in the form of bowel resection, or peritonectomy. After surgery, patient received 2 to 3 cycle of post-operative adjuvant chemotherapy to complete the 6th cycle of chemotherapy, and the follow-up data were collected till March 2024. Pathological review. Hematoxylin and eosin stain slides of IDS were reviewed by a single experienced oncology pathologist. This is an important thing which is emphasized further in the study. A single pathologist has reviewed all the slides. Omental slides with the most viable tumor and the least chemotherapy response were selected. For cases with no residual tumor, slides with the largest area of treatment effect were selected. The slides were scored according to the 3-tier system proposed by Boehm et al., that is CRS 1, 2 and 3. CRS means the mainly viable tumor. There is no or minimal regression associated with fibroinflammatory changes. CRS 2 means appreciable tumor response along with the identified viable tumor. मतलब थोड़ा response है, थोड़ा नहीं है. CRS 3 mainly regression associated with fibroinflammatory changes means there is no residual tumor. The patient were followed up till March 2024. PFS calculated from the date of first NACT to the first evidence of progression. This progression is noted by the radiological or the gynecological cancer intergroup CA125 criteria, and the overall survival calculated from the date of first NACT to the date of death or last follow-up. What is gynecological cancer intergroup criteria? That by that they followed the progression or the response. These are the these are the set protocols used to define progression-free survival after first line of chemotherapy and to define response to treatment in recurrent disease. We can use these criteria only first line therapy and the recurrent disease. We cannot use these criteria for the maintenance therapy. The key aspect of GCIG CA125 criteria, the CA125 level should be at least twice the upper limit of normal before starting the treatment. Response defined as at least 50% reduction from the baseline value, and this reduction to be confirmed by a subsequent measurement sustained for at least 28 days. Progression means doubling of the CA125 level from the upper limit of normal, and if the baseline this is double if the baseline level was within the normal limit, or doubling from the lowest value. Complete response means CA125 level falls to within the normal reference range, and the same CA125 criteria should be used throughout the period. Patient with the history of mouse antibody treatment, or they have a history of medical or surgical interference to the peritoneum or pleura within the last 28 days, these protocol cannot be used. Means if the patient has a history of ascitic tapping or peritoneal tapping within the last 28 days, we cannot use this protocol. And the other radiological imaging criteria, this is response evolution criteria in solid tumor. Again, these are the set protocols to assess the objective measurement of tumor burden and respond to the conventional systemic therapy, specifically the conventional systemic therapy. The molecular therapy, target therapy are not evaluated, till now not evaluated by this criteria. What are the specific feature to this RECIST 1.1? Lesions are measured with the help of CT scan, MRI or X-ray. Lesion, we can select the lesion before starting the treatment. These are the target lesion, and maximum 5 target lesions, maximum of 2 per organ can be selected before starting the treatment. Lymph node considered measurable if their short axis is more than 15 mm, equal to more than 15 mm, and those with a short axis between 10 to 14 mm are considered as a non-target lesion. Complete response means disappearance of all target lesion. Partial response means at least 30% decrease in the sum of the longest diameter. Progressive disease means at least 20% increase in the sum of the longest diameter of the target lesion or the appearance of the new lesion. Stable disease means neither sufficient shrinkage or increase to qualify lesion for the PR or PD. Non-target lesion means lesion not selected as a target lesion but their presence should be noted and followed. Example, ascites, pleural effusion, lymph node less than 15 mm, 10 to 14 mm size lymph nodes. So now we have reached to the result. Total 125 patient was participated in the study. The median age was 52 years. All are 100% a high-grade serous carcinoma. 72% belong to the stage 3C and the 27% stage 4. 60% received 3 cycle of chemotherapy and 40% received 40% 4 cycle of chemotherapy, and all 125 patient received complete cytoreduction. The median pre-treatment CA125 level was 1014 unit per ml, ranges from 43 to 51,876 unit per ml. Following NSCT, there was a marked response in the CA125 level and the median CA125 level fall to 44 unit per ml. According to the LIT score, most of the surgery was 80.8 means low risk surgery, and only 19.2% surgery was the complex procedures. 16.8% patient belong to the CRS1 and 42.4% patient belongs to the CRS2 means partial response, and 40.8% patient belongs to the CRS3. The median follow-up period was 77 months. During this time period, 75.2% patient relapsed, out of which 54% belongs to the CRS3, means the patient who had complete response. 86% belong to the CRS2 group and the 95% belongs to the CRS1 group. The median progression-free survival of the entire cohort was 26 months. If we compare individually to the each CRS group, the CRS1 has 17 months PFS, CRS2 has 22 months PFS, and CRS3 has 54 months PFS. If we compare CRS of 1 with CRS2, there is a significant P value, it is 0.04, so means it is significant. And if we compare CRS2 with CRS3, again it is a significant difference. The total mortality rate was 65.6%. Maximum number of mortality was noticed in the CRS1 group, means the patient who had no response. The median overall survival for the entire cohort was 45 months. For the CRS1, it is 19 months, CRS2 40 months, and for the CRS3 was not reached. Means that patient who had no response to chemotherapy, significant, if we compare the CRS1 with the CRS2, there is a significant p-value. And if we compare the CRS2 with CRS3, again, there is a significant difference in the overall survival. If we look at the CA125 levels, the percent reduction in the CA125 after NSCT ranged from 7.7 to 99.9%, with a mean reduction of 88.27%. The reduction of CA125 after NSCT did not correlate with the CRS. It was also seen that the percent reduction in the CA125 did not correlate with the progression-free survival. So, this study confirms that Omental CRS is significantly associated with PFS and overall survival. There are various studies in the literature which has already also proved the prognostic significance of the CRS, but they showed the mixed result. Some said it is only associated with PFS, and some said it is associated with PFS and overall survival to both. Let's see. This is a Boham et al. In 2015 reported the three-tier CRS system and said that the CRS is highly reproducible and can predict the progression-free survival. Thus, if we see the CRS of 1 and 2, if we compare the CRS of 1 and 2 with CRS 3, they found a significant difference. But the PFS of CRS 1 and 2 is not significant. Although in this study, the number of cases of CRS 1 is more in compared to the Boham et al. And they find a significant difference in the CRS 1 and 2 also. CRS, Boham et al. Said that it correlated with the PFS even after adjusting for debulking status. Means patient who has have suboptimal debulking or the complete debulking, both can associated with the PFS. CA125 response to NACT did not discriminate between the different pathological scores. Another study by Rajkumar et al. They found that there is no significant difference in the PFS between CRS 1 and 2, so suggested that we can use the binary system instead of three-tier system. Another study by Lee in 2017, they found significant difference in the PFS between the patient of CRS 1 and 2 tumor and CRS 2 and 3 tumor. But they said there's no gross residual disease after IDS overcome the partial response after NACT. Means if the patient has a complete cytoreduction, so we can overcome the CRS2 response. So according to them, the residual disease after IDS was the most powerful prognostic factor for progression-free survival in place of CRS. Barrington failed to show a correlation between CRS and survival and suggested that the high rate of optimal debulking achieved across all CRS group may have reduced all the prognostic significance of the scoring system. So again, they emphasize on the complete cytoreduction. Singh et al. In 2018 showed a significant correlation with the progression-free survival, but after controlling for the debulking status, this association was not significant. The percent reduction in the CA125 level correlate with the grades of pathological response as well as with the progression-free survival. Santoro found Omental CRS showed a significant prognostic value for overall survival and the progression-free survival for both. Lawson found that the Omental CRS was a significant associated with progression-free survival, but not associated with overall survival. But this study was different from other studies in a way that they had given more than 4 cycles of NACT and other agents along with the carboplatin and paclitaxel was used. So in this study, to reduce the bias, they have included only the patient who have achieved complete cytoreduction, only the patient of high-grade serous tubo-ovarian carcinomas, received only 3 to 4 cycle of NACT and NACT only with carboplatin and paclitaxel to make a homogeneous group. The limitation of this study is it is a retrospective study and there is no relation with the BRCA status. This is important. Suppose if a patient has achieved CRS3 and it is BRCA positive, so there is more chances of relapse. So this is the limitation of this study. The strength is comparable size to the other studies, more homogeneous group, complete cytoreduction and very long follow-up period. So in short, the study confirms that Omental CRS is significantly associated with PFS and OS in patients who have received complete cytoreduction during IDS, and it can be used as a prognostic tool to identify patients at the high risk of early relapse and may benefit from biological agent and the experimental therapies. And Aumentis CRS should be incorporated into routine practice and the clinical trial as an early endpoint. Thank you.